How are we doing? Welcome to another series of the £800 Agile Gorilla. I'm Jem Jalal.
I'm Tobias Mayer.
Hello, welcome. We are back at it in the chilly months of London, and today we're talking about
value collision.
Value collision. That's an interesting term. Where did that spring up from?
It came from a guy from Prague whose name is Jan Palencar. And he was asking us to talk about this particular topic of value collision in terms of, well, I'll tell you what I'll do, Jem. I'm going to read his exact words out.
Please do. Yeah, I've seen Jan's contributions, very interesting. You reminded me now of value collision. You got the quote there?
Yeah. So he says, you are hired to do agile transformation, but you will uncover that the manager who hired you loves to micromanage, endorses political indirect control, and is playing manipulative games.
Ooh, oops. Ooh. This is the person who's hired you. So they've hired you to bring value, but the collision, I guess, is that the behaviors of the person who's hired you is kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah. It's not, yeah. Exactly, something like that. Yeah,
it's never happened to me before.
Because
never.
this is just a single comment on LinkedIn, but never happened to you.
No.
He says,
tongue in cheek.
Firmly tongue in cheek. Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. It's something. I think earlier on you said this is when has this not happened?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's easier to ask that question. Yeah. When is it that somebody's hired you, and all of a sudden it's dawned upon you that, oh gosh, they may actually need to make some pretty radical changes to make this transformation or this change work.
Yeah, but I mean, let's just be fair about this. You know, if someone was like on top of this all and they had a completely, whatever it means, agile mindset,
for sure,
they wouldn't need to hire you, right?
Why would they need us?
Just get on and do it. So we have to accept that they don't know, and they're bringing you in as a person who knows more than they do to help them.
But I feel there's a little bit of a nuance there, because sometimes you might say someone hires I'm sorry for the poor metaphor. Somebody hires a personal trainer to make all of his team healthy, right? And the personal trainer tells you that they can't do it, but they want you to help. And then they claim that they are healthy. But actually, they're doing things that are really detrimental to their own health.
Yes, yeah.
So that's the nuance, because I totally agree. They've brought you in because they know there's a skill or some experience that you can provide that they can't. Get that? But they may have their own blind spot, and it's hard.
Yeah, and you know, my experience of this is this kind of manager that he's talking about will bring me in, same pretense, to fix the organisation. But what it comes down to is I need you to fix my teams. Yes. We know that we get this at management level. We get agile. We understand agile. Teams don't do it. And what on one particular occasion, what that manager meant was, I want to be able to change my mind anytime I want, and everyone else has to keep up with me. Right. Because I'm agile and they're not. So help them become agile. Now, that's just one example, but too many times I've been in these organizations and the brief is basically fix the teams. And once I start talking to the developers and the testers and the designers, they don't need fixing. They're usually fine. And what needs fixing is the system that they're working in. For sure. That's where the problem lies, right? So that's the value collision, I suppose, that he's talking about. We think we're asking for something, but our behaviours are the opposite of that, and so those values collide. They
do, and I feel like, so for Jan, is asking you, how would you handle this, how would you go about this? I often believe the way that you enter a situation can count for a lot. You with me? Like when I'm in an interview or someone's hiring me, trying to find out how comfortable I feel having difficult conversations, like just testing the water with them and managing an expectation and saying, look, how much of this are you willing to look at for yourself? Are you willing to be challenged? That can give me a gauge of what I'm working with. Because if I feel as though that person is not willing to reflect or have difficult conversations with me, I don't feel that, for my integrity, I'm not sure that I can contribute.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yeah, I am, totally, yeah.
So maybe that
in the past, I've gone into those situations, inviting these executive people to come and do the workshops and the learning with the developers, and they don't show up, or they kind of pop in, and make sure everything's running. I wouldn't do those kind of engagements now, and I turn them down. When I sense that's going to happen, because it's just they're paying me for nothing. Yes. I can't take that money in the end.
I mean, there is obviously the other way whereby you've spoken about setting up expectations, and you've understood this person comes across as someone who you can get into a you know, a dialogue where it can be a difficult conversation. But when the theory hits, you know, when the rubber hits the road, you are going to have some difficult stuff. And how do you help those people through it? And I think, I don't know, being able to hold up a mirror and reflect back what behaviors are and aren't useful for what they want is important. So often I've met managers and I say, hey, I want collaboration, I want transparency. And I say, okay, you want collaboration. What does that look like? And then we play out some examples, right? And I say, well, say your developers, could they face off to customers with the product owner or someone from the business to talk about the way things work? No way. Why not? Because developers can't do that. And then I'll say to them, well, is it really collaboration you want then? Are you with me? So when people throw out lovely, you know, feel-good words about transparency and Agile, I'll ask them, let's have a look at what that actually means and let's play out the potential behaviors. Can you still stomach it?
Yeah, I mean, people use that word collaboration to mean all kinds of things, and I think often what they mean is, when they say we need more collaboration, is what they are actually talking about is cooperation. And when they want cooperation, they want I want you to cooperate with me, which means do what I say.
That's a nice bit.
There was one moment, one poor moment in my parenting when I told my daughter that I was trying to get her coat on and she didn't want to wear it, and I said, you have to cooperate with me and put your coat on. What am I actually saying here?
Yeah.
What am I seeking? I'm seeking compliance.
Yep.
I want her to do exactly what I want her to do, and it has nothing to do with what she wants. So I have to step back from that situation. But we use that term cooperate. I need you to cooperate with me.
Yeah. But what's behind that though? Is it speed? Is it speed as in?
Who knows? Maybe.
Are you with me? Convenience.
What's control? You know, I know and you don't. So it was my exact. Well, I was doing it. I know you don't. I know it's cold outside. You don't know because you're too small. You're too young. You don't get it. I know. So you have to do what I'm telling you to. And I use the word cooperate. I could just as easily say, you need to collaborate with me. Yeah. You know, it's equally bullshit.
Yep.
Isn't it? So
I'm with you.
So we say these things all the time, but we don't live them. We don't live in the real space of it. We just use the language.
And I get it. The thing is that there are many cases you meet people that hire you who have read about Agile or read about these ideas and they're inspired by these ideas. But often what they're inspired by doesn't match their old paradigm. And when the pressure turns up, they will fall back to their natural reflexes, like any human being, right? Yeah. You try and quit smoking. When the pressure goes up, you can quite easily go back to your old reflexes. Okay, so empathy has to work both ways. Are you with me? It's never going to be smooth sailing. Even if to your question was, I don't know what the answers are, but what I do know is, even if you do set up a clear understanding of expectations, you unpack what these values mean in behavior. We can't be too naive to think that when pressure mounts, that people will go back to their old reflexes.
Yeah.
And then have you got the personal resilience to kind of go back to those difficult conversations and try and, remind people of what it is you're trying to do. So there's no easy answers here, huh?
There's not. I mean, this brings us on to something we were talking about off camera, about the kinds of topics people ask us to talk about. Sometimes they're framed as how do I, or how do we, or how do you, or how should I. And other times they're phrased more as explorations.
Yeah. What do you think about?
What do you think about? What's your thoughts on this? Well, those are the kind of topics we like, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not, and I don't know where this one falls in that, but of course we don't know. We haven't got a clue how you would handle that, right? We know how we have handled it in the past, and my choice of handling it now is not to do it, right? Which is a cop-out, really. And if you're trying to make your income by doing this kind of work, then copping out is not an option.
I'm with you.
But I don't know how you do it. I never figured it out. I just didn't, I chose not to do it. I chose to listen. Yeah. I chose to detect it sooner, I suppose, and not assume it was all going to be okay once I was there. Well, and there might be times when it is, actually.
Yeah, and I don't think it's copping out to know what's not, to know what you don't want to get yourself in for as well.
Yeah.
I think that's completely fine, because if your heart's not in it, that could be, do you know what I mean? That could be even worse.
Yeah.
Right, you go in and you go in with no conviction, and then you do compromise your integrity. So, no silver bullets.
Yeah, what we can say though, Jan, is you're not alone. You probably know that already, but like Jem said, when have I not encountered that?
Yeah.
That's what you said to me earlier, and it's far more common to encounter that than it is to not encounter it. So. It's the pattern.
It is. And maybe within that, there are patterns to say, setting expectations, you know, using your intuition to know if whether you feel you could speak up openly with this person, helping someone unpack values to see what those, you know, what those words actually mean in behavior. Like, there are certain things that you could try, but I always emphasize the word try, because those things have also failed me the same amount of times, and if not more, than they have helped.
Yeah. I think what you touched on earlier, Jim, is like when someone uses the word like collaboration, and we talked about this earlier as well, unpacking a term. You know, when we throw out these kind of words, and they're popular in the Agile space, psychological safety, collaboration, you know, and, cooperation, and self-organization, and trust, and all these things.
Yeah.
What do we mean by these words? If we don't unpack them, we just make assumptions about the other person's understanding is exactly the same as ours, and you can bet it's probably not.
Certainly
probably not, right? So unpacking and deconstructing the language, so we can at least have common language rather than this very disparate, uncommon language that we seem to get caught up in, that causes all the pain in the end, because you promised this, no I didn't. But they're both true. They're both true.
I think you're picking up on something, which is, it means slowing down the conversation, and it might feel like you need confidence to say, hold on, I'm not quite sure we have a shared understanding of that word, but I do agree, we need to unpack more. People throw around buzzwords for fun.
They do, yeah.
And I'm sure there's good intention, but what do you mean by those words?
The creation of buzzword bingo was a radical confrontation of the way corporate culture is, actually. It's funny and clever, but it is actually a radical confrontation. And we need to take it seriously.
Yes.
You know? Not just laugh at it and laugh it off. It's actually, it is a confrontation.
That's right.
Yeah. So.
Okay, well, I guess we are where we normally are, which is not claiming to be the experts.
Yeah, and we don't know.
Yeah.
But we love talking about this stuff. Right?
For sure.
Thanks for the prompts from everybody.
Absolutely, and we hope that we can carry on the conversation in the comments. We'd love to hear your advice, your views, what you believe to work and what doesn't work. But yeah.
And lots more of these on the YouTube channel, so subscribe there, and look at the back catalogue if you ever have some idle time.
On that note, till next time.
See you later.
See ya. Bye.